Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and knock this out. First question. Hey coach, I just rehabbed my lower back. It's now at 100% and I am very worried about working out again. I have limited equipment and was wondering if you think a reverse hyper is worth the investment. Thanks in advance. Alright, that's a great question. If you can afford a reverse hyper and you have had a back injury, you have room in your garage, it's within your budget to get one, and it's not going to break the bank, I don't think that would be a bad idea. Now, I think sometimes a reverse hyper might be overrated by certain people like the Westside Barbell guys. However, if we go off the anecdote, Louis Simmons claims to have used one of these to rehab his lower back after he broke his back. And then I think he went on to squat something like 800 pounds multiply after breaking his back and using one. And I have known of other guys who had back strains, lower back injuries, things like that, who have used the reverse hyper as part of the rehab. So again, I don't know if it's necessarily endorsed by physical therapists, but I've certainly seen a fair amount of anecdote that it does seem to help strengthen the lower back for people who have had some serious injuries in the past. It doesn't seem to be detrimental. The only downside is the money and the space that it takes up. So again, if you're really concerned about this and you want a device in your home to do that, yeah, I would say go ahead and do it. But if it's something you think is going to break the bank and you're not 100% convinced of its effectiveness, don't necessarily do it. But if you want to spend a little less money, something like a little simple hyperextension bench, just so you can do a little bit of extra lightweight lower back training just to try to strengthen up your spinal erectors and everything, wouldn't be a bad idea. But you also need to remember, if you've had back injuries in the past, just focusing on strengthening your entire core, not just your spinal erectors, is something you need to look at in the future. Because again, this is assuming you've rehabbed yourself, of course. I'm not qualified to rehab you. But I will tell you that all the available data does tell us that having a strong core in general is protective to your lower back. It doesn't ensure you won't get hurt, but it certainly reduces the chances of getting hurt. And, so I just recommend core training in general for everyone. A strong core is all around a good idea, learning to brace your core correctly and everything. So anything that you can get to help strengthen your core also wouldn't be a bad idea. But things like reverse hypers or even a normal hyperextension, things like that, if you have a history of back injuries and you have a home gym, probably not a bad idea. All right, next question. Hi Jason, due to my schedule, I only have one day of the week to get any decent amount of gym and exercise time. Can I make any significant changes in body composition, muscle strength gains with just one session full body workout per week? Goal is just general fitness and strength. The session would include about 45 minutes of cardio, moderate intensity. Thanks mate, from Melbourne, Australia. All right, a lot of people are going to try to give you the line of, look, we all have the same 24 hours. But truth be told, this might be a guy who works 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, has a family, all that stuff, and literally can only get one workout in maybe on Sunday or something. So I'm going to take that at face value rather than tell this person to organize their life better, which is usually people's typical response. But people need to understand not everyone has that free time. And some people might say, well, how does he have time to watch your videos? He probably does them at work and stuff. A big chunk of my fan base watch them from work. So I guess my advice to you would be, yes, you can make changes in body composition and strength off of a single full body workout every week. Is it going to be ideal? No. Will you gain even 50% of your possible gains? No. But you know what? You could probably gain 25 to 30% of your possible gains. It'll take you 3 years to finish out your noob gains instead of a year. But you know what? You can still get bigger and stronger. Meaning, yeah, if you train full body on any good program, some people say, well, do starting strength one day a week. Not really, because the volume is a little lower. And that program accounts for the fact that you're doing it 3 days a week. Something like my novice program, you could run it once a week instead of 3 times a week, and it just takes you 3 weeks to finish each weekly block. Now, are you going to be a little more sore? Yeah. Are you going to get slower progress? Yeah. But will you gain muscle recomposition, gain strength, and all of that over time? Sure you will. It just won't be anywhere near as fast. But you know what? I will say, if you're getting in and squatting and deadlifting and overhead pressing and doing all of that stuff with progressive overload once a week, that's sure a hell of a lot better than doing it 0 times a week. it's a lot better, and you're still going to make progress. Your health is going to improve, your bone density is going to improve, your body composition is going to improve. So you know what, if that's all you can squeeze in, then by all means do so. Just run any normal, proven full body program, but do it once a week instead of the 3 times they normally call for. All right, next question. Is it possible to get up to 1,000 pounds deadlift beltless, no knee wraps, no straps? Thanks, bro. Is it possible? One day it very well might be possible with the right training, the right genetics, the right drugs. Sure, these things are totally possible. Absolutely possible. But is it something that's likely to happen anytime soon? No, probably not. The current world record for this is in the 900s. It's less than 1,000. It's never been done. And the guy doing it is enormously big, enormously strong, and obviously on a bit of stuff. So the point is, can it be done? Yeah, it's probably possible, but it's never been done by anybody. And like I said, it's going to take the right individual to come along and do it. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say they are probably going to have to be using mind-boggling amounts of stuff. Meaning if someone say, oh, could it ever be done natural? Not a snowball's chance in hell. Never going to happen short of genetic engineering. All right, next question. All right, this question is going to cause a little bit of flack because I got into a little bit of a debate in the comments of the Q&A when someone asked me this in the discussion there. But he asked, hi coach, can you give an example of a novice calisthenics program and then what to do when someone reaches an intermediate stage? I think it would be great to incorporate your teachings into calisthenics. I'm going to be honest with you. By the standards that we all set in the strength and conditioning world for what an intermediate is, you're not going to be an intermediate lifter on a calisthenics program. I'm sorry, guys, you can only get so strong doing 20 and 25 rep stuff for most of your upper body. It is absolutely impossible to develop appropriate lower body strength or full body strength on a calisthenics program. Doing 20 pistol squats with one leg, if you take someone who does that and then you go put them into any strength program so that we could actually assess their strength on a chart using actual resistance, because you guys need to remember, what is strength? Strength is the application of force against an external resistance. I think you're going to find that even someone who has done that, that's how they built their leg strength, they're going to be probably weaker than my novice standards that I set for my basic hypertrophy program. You can't do it. It can't be done. And even then, I understand a lot of people like calisthenics, and I made a video on this the other day. It's hard to program them, and your options are very limited. You don't have the ability to program them, and ultimately, all you have are massive jumps in weight. You have to go from using one arm or 2 arms to 1 arm on a chin-up or a pull-up. All right, that's an enormous change. That's doubling the weight. That's effectively saying, okay, I'm going to work with 150 pounds on the bench press for really high reps till I'm strong enough to do 300, then jumping from 150 to 300, like if you had fixed bars and no other weight that you could use. You see the problem there? You can't program with this. You're always going to be limited. And I don't care what people claim their goals are. This is the slowest way to get strong. It's the slowest way to get fit. I'm not saying it can't produce some pretty good results, particularly for the upper body, but having strong arms and shoulders is not the entirety of fitness. It's not the entirety of strength. It's not the entirety of function. Barbells are used for a reason by the best athletes around the world. There's a reason their coaches have them use barbells instead of calisthenics. I mean, think of how much money all the training camps and stuff would save for Olympic athletes if all they had to have was chin up and dipping bars and rings. All right, instead of all the plates and barbells. Think how much money they would save. It doesn't work. It can't work. And I don't know how to stress that enough. And anyone telling you that it can, they're selling you gimmicky stuff. And yes, people can get into shape, but the results are just not comparable. And when you go take any strength standard that we utilize to see how strong someone is, I think most of these guys are going to find that when push come to shove, if they've built all of their full body strength up with the entirety of it just doing high rep one-legged pistol squats, I think they're going to find their legs and stuff are not going to be as strong as they think they are. These people are not going to be as powerful as they think they are. They're not going to be as explosive as they think they are. You go put them under a barbell squat or have them do a power clean, or you test their jumping ability, everything else, you're going to find it's not going to work. It's absolutely not going to work. because this isn't the most effective way to train. It's a very limited way to train. It's basically invented for people who were completely broke and couldn't afford any sort of equipment. And it works in that environment, but that is the environment where this sort of training has come from. People who have to train in parks and stuff. It really isn't effective for legitimate athletes. And again, anyone trying to tell you otherwise is selling you a gimmick. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.